Hello, my name is AJ Goldsby. I'm a life master from Pensacola, Florida, and I wanted to bring you today the third game of the World Championship match that's being held in Sochi, Russia, between Viswanathan Anand and Magnus Carlsen. Carlsen is the current reigning world champion. He took the title from Anand last year, and now they're having the rematch. Anand convincingly won back to the candidates to become the challenger, and I think he's more than a worthy challenger. He's one of the most easily maybe in the top 25 players in the world that ever played chess. I don't care whose list you're looking at. But anyway, this is the game between Anand is white and Carlsen is black. This is the third game of the match, and Anand won convincingly. We're going to go ahead and just run through this game. I'm going to try not to make this video too long, but I just wanted to cover a few bases here. Anyway, the opening starts out d4, knight f6, to c4, e6, knight f3, d5. Of course, now we have a queen. We've transposed into a queen's gambit. Declined. It initially started out looking like it could be a Nimzo Indian or a modern opening, even a queen's Indian, but now we've transposed into the queen's gambit. Knight c3, bishop e7, bishop f4. This is the bishop f4 in the queen's gambit is becoming very popular as of late. We've seen a lot of this the last 10 or 15 years. In the match between Kramnik and Liko, I believe it was, we saw this match. Kramnik played the white side of this. So this has been becoming more and more popular. I think one of the reasons for this is that the normal move here is bishop g5 is the main line there. And just to let you know, that's the main line. But very oftentimes, the lines that stem from bishop g5 have been heavily analyzed, and many masters consider them played out. And I will tell you that most of the time, the large majority of the time, when two top grandmasters play this line, the game usually ends in a draw. But anyway, white played bishop f4, black castled, e3, knight bd7, c5. This is they're calling this the Aronian's Queen's Gambit. Aronian is the one that Levon Aronian is the one that's popularized this greatly. And in the super tournament in Moscow, I believe it was called Tashir or Tashkent, the Grand Prix, we saw this position several times. Here black plays c6. Just to let you know that knight h5 was one of the black's favorite move in the tournament in Moscow. And just I picked one line. I checked this with the Power Book and also with several opening books. But apparently one of the main lines here for white, it's a fairly modern line. Bishop d3, knight takes f4. E takes f4. The idea of getting these double pawns look bad, but they give white tremendous clamp on the e5 square. c6, queen c2, h6, white castles b6, b4, b takes c5, b takes c5. And white maybe has a slight advantage in space, although the engines call this position dead equal. And this would be the game Andrei Rykagov versus Sambat Lepushin, and this was from the Russian championship, I believe the team tournament, and this was played in Sochi, also in Sochi, Russia, in 2007. But anyway, that position is considered completely equal. But let's just go back to the actual game. We'll run through the moves here real quick. d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, d5, knight c3, bishop e7, bishop f4, white castles, e3, knight bd7, c5. So this is pretty much the main line here. This has become one of the most popular positions in Grandmaster chess as of late. c6, this is again, the main line was knight h5. We just looked at the alternative to that, but this is the main line here, is black plays c6. Bishop d3. I'm just going to scroll down here a little bit so I can keep up with the moves. Both sides continue developing normally. b6, b4, a5, a3. Basically, black's trying to break down white's pawn chain. You know, obviously, if white maintains this big spearhead of pawns, if he can keep this pawn chain, and if this is left undisturbed, it would confer on white a fairly decent advantage. So that's why black immediately begins to try to rip this down. Bishop a6. These are all book moves. Bishop takes a6. Rook takes a6. Now, there are several different lines that white can play. He can play queen e2. He can castle. There's several different slow approaches for white from this position. But the line that Anand chooses in this game is the main line. It's considered to be the sharpest line, and that's b5. And that's all well known to theory. All these moves have been played many times before. Black plays c takes b5, and now white pushes through to c6. It's very obvious that black's in a little bit of trouble here. For example, if he simply plays knight b8, then you have this big fork here, and now we see that the queen and the knight are forked there. So basically black can't play routine moves here, and that after c6 he's got to find a way to generate counterplay or lose. So he plays this cute little move, queen c8. The idea of this move is that if pawn takes knight now, just queen takes knight check here, and black is fine. And you have to remember that already white's one pawn down, and he's about to go more pawns down. So obviously after queen c8, taking the knight is impossible. So white plays c7. And this is, again, a well-known line. This is all book theory, book line. And the idea is that if white can maintain this passed pawn on c7, then, you know, white must be better. There was a very famous game, I forget who it was between the two. It's in several of the opening books and on the DVD, where white won this game, but later there are lines that were found for black that equalized. But anyway, black plays b4. This is all main line. This is all forced. b4, knight b5, and now the computer wants to play b takes a3, but black plays a4 here, and that's a very interesting move. B takes a3. I think white can treat it as a gambit, but anyway, black plays a4 here, and white plays rook c1, knight e4, and now we have a very complex position. This is an extremely complex position. The computer wants to play knight d2 or knight g5. It considers both of these moves about the same move here, and that's exactly what Anand plays, knight g5. Again, all these moves have been played before. Black plays knight df6 here. Now, it's possible here that maybe black should consider bishop takes g5, and after bishop g5 then play knight f6. To me, that looks like a distinct improvement. I'm still analyzing those lines, but I don't know if I found a forced win yet for black, but it's certainly a very interesting line. But anyway, black just plays knight df6. The computer's, I'm running Deep Fritz 14 in the background, and it still considers this position to be relatively equal. Knight takes e4, knight takes e4, f3, and this is, I believe this is the critical position, yes, and black plays rook a5 here. And this is the position where this game was played before. In fact, the Aronian Adams in 2013, they reached this position, and white played the move that was played before. The move that was always played before in this position was always queen e2. That was considered the main line. And in Aronian Adams, you know, in that game, I believe it was eventually drawn. But that was played in Aronian Adams. But anyway, getting back to the main position, white plays, go back a couple moves. Knight takes e4, knight takes e4, 19 f3, rook to a5. Here we have a brand new move. Apparently Anand must have taken a fresh look at this position. Obviously, he must have looked at it with his seconds, and probably also with a very strong engine. But the first move of the engine is the move that he plays. Now, this is a theoretical novelty. This is the first move out of book, the first original move of this game. And it basically shows, you know, that now this is what white plays, and it confers upon white apparently a little bit of an advantage here. Rook takes b5, queen takes a4. All these moves look forced. Rook a5, queen c6, b takes a3, e takes d5, rook takes d5. Pawn takes d5 was also an option there. I'm not sure why black couldn't take pawn takes b5, but rook takes d5 seems to be the indicated move. And now white plays queen takes b6. And this is a fairly strange position. In this position, let's see, we've got white has 4 or 5 pawns, black also has 5 pawns. So we're back to equal material, but white obviously is better because his pawn's sitting on the 7th rank. I think it greatly interferes with the mobility of black's pieces, whereas black's pawn is on a3, and it's hard for black to control this queenie square more than once. He can put a rook on a8, but white can simply castle, and it's very hard for black to force this pawn in, but the c pawn is a different story. So I think because of the c pawn that white is probably slightly better here, and indeed the engine gives white a few 100ths, about 3100ths of a pawn advantage in this position. And now black plays queen d7, all these moves at forced, And white castles. Again, white's got to be at least a little bit better here simply because his c pawn is more dangerous than black's a pawn. Black plays rook c8. All these moves look very, very interesting. You know, this is all, you know, standard theory, standard ideas. Rook c6. And let's see, I don't know. I guess position according to Fritz 14 is still relatively equal. Apparently all this was played before also in a game between Evgeny Tomashevsky and Alexander Ryzentev from the 2008 Russian Super Final. I did not know that. I just recently found doing a thing, a search from that game. But apparently white won that game fairly easily. Black plays g5. Bishop g3. Apparently black's slowly running out of moves. That part of the problem here is that, you know, white's just slowly getting better and better here, and it's really hard for black to come up with a really good plan. Anyway, black played g5 here. Okay. Bishop g3. I wonder what he could have played instead of g5. The computer's looking at bishop b4, but I don't know if that's really that impressive there. Eventually, black also looks like he's going to run out of moves too. G5, though, is probably not the right approach there because it's putting this big hole in the black king side. Maybe the bishop b4 or h6 was a little bit more prudent here. But anyway, g5, bishop g3, bishop b4, and here Anand plays rook a1. It's very obviously that Anand is white and Carlsen is black. Anand is clearly getting the upper hand here. Bishop a5. Apparently that move was a bad move. Bishop to a5 may have been something of a mistake here, because right now apparently black should play a move like g4. He shouldn't move this bishop off here. I think bishop a5 must have been clearly an inaccuracy because the engine immediately jumps. Again, it's recommending g4 here. Black played bishop a5 attacking the white queen. Queen a6. The idea is just keeping all the resources here on this pawn here. Bishop takes pawn is a very bad problem because after bishop takes pawn, white plays rac1 and black's trapped in a terrible pin here. And, you know, it's very hard for him to, he can't bring enough firepower. White can continue with queen b7, and it looks like the piece is just lost. So I would say at this point, black is probably already busted. Bishop takes c7, queen c4. Again, the idea is to double up or triple up on this file eventually and take advantage of the pin on the c file. Black plays e5, bishop takes e5. Rook takes e5, d takes e5, and Carlsen's doing the best that he can from this position. It appears that his position is already lost. Queen e7, and now white plays e6. That was a very good move. Now the black king becomes, you know, very weak too as well. King f8, rook c1. And at this point, Carlsen went ahead and resigned. This was the first Anand win in 2 matches against Carlsen. It was a very nice win, a very clean win. If there's enough interest, I may generate a web page for this game and try to clearly analyze and deeply analyze the entire game and all of the alternatives. But anyway, that pretty much concludes my video. This was Game 3 of the World Championship match between Anand and Carlsen. Anand won this game. Right now, after 9 games, Carlsen has won 2, Anand's only won 1, and, you know, the rest were drawn, and Carlsen is +1, and I believe it's only going to 12 games. So as we speak right now and as we sit right now, the current situation is that Carlsen is winning the matches up to Game 9. Game 9 was just recently a very quick draw. And so Carlsen is clearly leading the game, and it's up to Anand to find a way to make this match a fight before it's over. But anyway, that pretty much concludes my video for Game 3. I wanted to at least do 1 video on each game. Again, if there's enough interest in this game, I would generate a web page, but that would be up to you, the reader, and the various people out there to ask for that. And contact me on my email. My email is LifeMasterAJ@yahoo.com. If you like my videos and you'll want to help support my effort of making great chess videos and also good chess web pages, go to the PayPal website. That's www.paypal.com, and make a contribution under my email account, which is my email, which is LifeMasterAJ. Again, my email is LifeMasterAJ@yahoo.com. Thank you for watching my video, and have a great day.